Hello, good morning, and welcome to Colona Now Live. I'm Jason Mann with Jim Check. We're broadcasting live from the top of Landmark 6 on YouTube and X, and here are today's top headlines.
First of all, we're starting at 9 o'clock. It's 9 a.m., so the 9 o'clock news. 9 a.m. news.
A promise made, a promise kept.
4 o'clock, right?
Yes.
4 o'clock. So 9 and 4, and even if we're not ready, we're going to just start going.
So tune in to see if we're ready.
That's going to be interesting. On Kelowna in top 5 rattiest cities in Canada.
That's quite an award.
And BC takes up half of the top 10.
Yeah.
So ratatouille.
So, okay, climate. It's a good climate for rats, check. Lots of construction, so disrupting, places, and obviously they often go and scurry. But I have a story. We're on a major transportation route, so I wonder how often this happens. Just a few weeks ago, we had friends come in from Nakusp, and middle of the daylight, this pack rat jumps out from under their truck. Had been sleeping, I guess, probably up under the hood, keeping warm or something, and scurries off. But you don't see pack rats during the day at all. So he was definitely an import on for a ride. And I imagine, a lot come that way. But how is it that Alberta doesn't have any? Are they still rat-free?
They say they are.
Yeah.
I guess they can't get past the Rockies, but I mean, they should be able to get in a vehicle somehow. But maybe if they get dropped off by accident, they're just like, how do we get back to BC? It's colder. I don't know. When I lived in Midway, lots of rats.
Yeah.
All the time. Seen rats all the time. So I've never really seen a rat here.
I've seen one from afar, and then this pack rat, which is, I don't know, they're kind of rats.
One of my friends said that mice are baby rats. I was like, no, they're not. But he was adamant that they weren't. Anyway, shoe swap man pleads guilty to second-degree murder of Ashley Simpson in 2016.
Well, all I could say about that is thankfully he, if he's feeling guilty, obviously, he's pled guilty, and thankfully he owned up to it and just made it as simple as possible for the family that's left behind dealing with this tragedy. Just terrible. So
we've seen that carbon tax being dropped in Atlantic Canada for heating fuel. Scott Moe came out with a statement yesterday and says if they don't have it dropped in Saskatchewan by January 1, that they're just not going to pay it. And I think Alberta's going to do something similar. But now David Eby is feeling the pressure here in British Columbia because British Columbia has its own carbon tax.
Which is actually a little bit higher than
the federal, but we pay he did say that that they're sticking with their mandate on climate change. So we'll see how much he can deal with the pressure that's going to be put on by people, because I think people are hurting. And so Tiff Macklin came out yesterday, saying carbon tax adds to inflation. Mm-hmm. Obviously, right? But they've denied it at first, and that government spending leads to inflationary pressures. Both of them, the NDP and the Liberals tend to want to do, right? So
this denying.
And I think
a
lot of people are done with inflation,
a trend,
right? Like I think they need to reduce the inflationary pressures on people.
Yeah, I mean,
it's hard to disagree with that. I mean, when families are choosing between eating and heating and not being able to feed their families and using credit cards to pay for groceries.
Yeah, that can't last long.
Back to spending. BC nonprofits received $60 million from government to help with their work from David Eby. Certain not-for-profit organizations are getting $60 million from the government in grant funding to help them do their work. I mean, for sure, that is a need, but we need to do that with a balanced budget for sure too, right? So. In Kelowna,
there might be some people choosing between heat, wondering if they could have a bit of that, but
yeah. Kelowna Council moves forward on a pair of residential developments. It's going to the next reading, so God knows we need more housing in Kelowna. So that's good news to get some of those housing developments moving forward. So that one's on 450 Montgomery Road. That's that one that you see in the picture. And the second one is on 3593 Lakeshore Road.
I probably sound like a grumpy old guy here, but do we need more?
Do we need more housing?
Yeah. Do we need more?
That seems like an odd question.
Well, I feel like we need more, but we need more roads too, don't we?
I don't know. I think people need a house.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't you think? Wouldn't you rather sleep somewhere?
No, I don't disagree. It's just when you can't get from one side of town to the other because there's so many people, it's like the infrastructure sometimes
I honestly
maybe
think you need to go to Seattle for a day or two and then think, wow, this is see what traffic issues are.
Okay. So I am just a grumpy old guy. All right.
Yeah, it's like, okay. Yeah, moving on to sports. Canadian teams sweep on day 2 of Pan-Continental Curling Championships. Anything to add to that? You're still lost on your
what could a grumpy old guy say about that? I don't know. Congratulations. You can
get more on these stories, obviously, by going to colonanow.com. We're trying to give you some of the headlines.
Yeah.
UBCO cross-country running places 5th and 8th at the Canada West Championships. The UBCO men's and women's cross-country teams will now set their sights on nationals after a successful conference championship meet this past weekend.
That's terrific. Love those university athletic programs. Yeah.
Warriors outlast the Cranbrook Bucks. The West Colonial Warriors were all over the Cranbrook Bucks in the first final. That's hard to say. In the first period of their weekend matchup, West Colonial managed to hold off the Bucks' comeback attempt and snag a 4-3 win on the road Saturday night. Doing better than the Rockets, I guess, of late.
All right, and it's Halloween evening, so our forecast, have a little quick look here for our trick-and-treaters. Today's high looking for 3 degrees with mostly sunny conditions. It'll be a little bit chilly tonight, but at least no rain, no snow in the forecast, and down to around -3.
That looks better than what it looked like yesterday.
It does. Yeah, it's really nice. And then as we look out for the rest of the week, cloudy and showers tomorrow. So we've dodged it by a day, a high of 2, low down to 0, which might bring or turn those showers into some snow flurries and maybe some snow flurries overnight through Thursday morning. But warming up to 3, so turning to rain showers and more rain showers and much warmer on Friday with a high of 11. Then calling for all-out rain on, even though our little rain icon there is not raining like it was in pre-production, but anyways, it is 6 degrees expected for a high on Saturday.
Inflationary pressures. Couldn't get the raindrops.
There you go. And the forecast brought to you by ATB Wealth. Realize your vision of wealth at atb.com/wealth. Kelowna.
So Halloween today, people are going to be taking their...
Guess what I am dressed up as?
Grumpy old man.
There you go.
I'm going to say I'm dressed as Mr. Cool, but I doubt it, though.
That might land you in a garbage can.
We are working on a couple stories. We are working on a couple of stories on the Bank of Canada stuff, on the inflationary pressures. Those stories will come out later today on the couple of comments from Tiff Macklin. Mm-hmm. Some of them seem like Captain Obvious, like in carbon taxes adding to inflationary pressures and government spending adding to inflationary pressures. Those seem obvious to most, but it's good that they're actually finally
acknowledging it.
Yeah, and then Canadians use their voice and make some changes. I have noticed some things really changing. When you go to the grocery store, I see a lot more yellow stickers. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Like, especially when you're in Save On, there's a lot more things on sale now. Yeah. So hopefully we're on the backside, and I believe we are on the backside of the inflationary pressures, and I think things are coming down. And I think we're going to see that in the automotive industry as well. Like we've been talking, we did our Energize show yesterday. If you haven't seen that yet, I encourage you to go watch it. Because we got to get the viewership up past, 12.
3, yeah.
3, 2.
Oh, jeez, we've tripled. Perfect.
We'll be back in the afternoon.
Yeah, and before we wrap up, if you're enjoying our content, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to our YouTube and X channels, and of course, head over to colonanow.com for all the stories. And while you're there, subscribe to our newsletter, which will deliver headlines to you every morning at 7 o'clock, algorithm and absolutely free. So that's it. Until then, have a great day.
If you go to colonanow.com, you'll see what the real reporters, right? You and I are basically readers of the news.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So
the full story is without the grumpy old guy at colonanow.com.
The weird questions, yeah. Okay. Until 4 o'clock.